number 8, Grace Bond.
We welcome you inside the Grand Park Indoor Events Center. Is it crisp and cool in here? No. Is it significantly cooler than it would be outside? Yes. It is the finale of the season for Racing Louisville for Indy 11. They have this match on Friday night yet to go. We'll take this quick timeout. We'll come back with starting lineups and keys to victory when we come back to Westfield on the ISC Sports Network.
Imagine a health insurance company that could look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals and help its members find what they need to actually live healthier lives, like a stable job, dependable transportation, or a safe place to live. Well, that health insurance company is not only real, but making a real difference right now. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining health insurance.
It's very true that it takes a village to raise a child. And when it comes to my healthcare village at Community Health Network, it's all nestled right in my phone. Accessing healthcare is the ability to be connected with your provider and ask a question when you need it. I feel like when I'm meeting with a community nurse practitioner or doctor, they're tuned in to what is going on with me and the way that they can serve me best.
Stand by me.
The summer of soccer is here with the Indy 11. And you've got the chance to win a getaway to Charleston, South Carolina. When you grab our Summer of Soccer ticket deal, you get 10 entries into the Summer of Soccer Getaway Sweepstakes for a chance at a trip for two with flights, hotels, and meals covered. All this while you get to have a blast with the boys in blue all summer. Get your tickets now at Indy11.com. Well, welcome back inside. You see Grace Barr, who is in the starting 11 in terms of being lined up with the team, but will not be in the starting 11 tonight because of a knee injury suffered a couple of weeks ago. And after 4 years of playing for the Indy 11 women's squad, Grace has decided a couple of knee injuries playing at this level is enough for her. She will focus on coaching going forward. So unfortunately, Grace, as you can tell from her mobility, not going to be up and down the field tonight, but Grace seeing her playing career recognized by the Indy 11 this evening. I want to thank the following sponsors that make our broadcast possible. Community Health Sports Medicine, exceptional care simply delivered. AES Indiana, accelerating the future of energy together. And by CareSource, individual and family health insurance, reimagining health insurance. Alongside Kristen Hazley, my name is Greg Rakestraw. Obviously, Grace's injury situation to some degree kind of changes the outlook of this one, but also something that is unique for the Indy 11. They know that Friday night will be the end of their season. Kings Hammer Cincinnati has claimed the Valley Division Championship. It'll be a different team other than the Indy 11 representing this group for the first time in the 4-year history of the league. So what does that mean for Brandon Kim's team these last 2 nights?
Well, it means they've still got something to fight for, whether it be pride. This game is, potentially a game for second place in the conference if you look at it, being Racing Louisville's last game. The Indy 11 have a chance to get that head-to-head victory and then finish off the end of the week with another victory to secure second place. So what I'm looking at is the experience to win games when you need to.
Let's get to our starting lineups. We'll get to Kristen's keys coming up in a matter of moments. But starting lineups are brought to us by Ford. Your Central Indiana Ford dealers are a proud sponsor of Indy 11 soccer. You have seen this with the Indy 11. They are going a little bit younger in terms of their starting 11 tonight. Again, you'll see Kamori Sahaki and Chester up top. Emily Edwards, after missing the last match for the Indy 11 with a very cool opportunity. The Purdue Boilermaker is back in goal. Now for Racing Louisville, a familiar name you're going to see on there, Carson Cherry. Played the last 3 years with the Indy 11 from Central Catholic. Plays for the University of Louisville. In fact, she has appeared in 50 matches over the course of the last 3 years. And because she was Grace's teammate the last 3 years, she got to present the flowers to Grace before tonight's contest. What stands out about any particular names you're seeing here on the starting 11s tonight?
Well, obviously Emma Teague, goalkeeper, she has tons of experience when it comes to USLW League. She's been one of their keepers that they've rotated in this year, second place in the league in saves as of a week ago. And on top of that, you look at Millie Davies at the top, a former Manchester City product, plays at Hofstra University, entering her senior year, and someone that the Indy 11 defense is going to want to keep tabs on as the Racing Louisville attack.
Let's go ahead and sneak in our keys. The game again brought to us by our friends at Ford, your Central Indiana Ford dealers, proud sponsor of Indy 11 Soccer. We start with reading the back line.
Yeah, and this goes for both teams, Greg. When you're playing that four-back line, they can either play it deep or they can kind of play it a little bit of a high line. Can you read the defense, take what they're giving you, and try and attack early and aggressively? Secondly, you want to look for the overload in the midfield. Can you create numbers-up situations where you can create possession and move the ball forward? And finally, I think this game's going to come down to whichever team takes advantage of their set pieces and makes goal-scoring opportunities. We've seen some tight games in between these two teams before, and this should be another good one.
Reese Sahaki stands over the ball for the Indy 11. Again, Grace Barr is on the field, but standing about as close to the sidelines as you can. We'll see if she gets a touch. No, simply the ball will be swept to the side. Grace will walk off the field, and now the starting 11 will be fully intact. Grace gets a nice bit of applause from the fans and her attendants here. Gets a great hug from Brandon Kim. And again, Grace is going to stick around the area in terms of coaching. In fact, Grace will join us for a few minutes here in the first half of our broadcast.
Yeah, and Grace Barr, one of quite a few ladies, been here since the beginning of the franchise, and honestly, quote-unquote, retiring as one of the best to wear the blue.
Maddie Oswald, Katie Bulger would be of that group. Addie Chester, Jenna Chatterton still have college eligibility left, also be a part of that group as well. And Racing Louisville beat Indy 11 1-0 when they played earlier in May. Indy comes in at 4-4 on the season. Lost on Friday at Lexington after beating Lexington in a pair of matchups here in this building. Indy will finish with the Dayton Dutch Lions, who have struggled in their first year in the Valley Division. And this is a really talented division. Kings Hammer was kind of knocking the door last year, and they burst it open this year as they'll advance on to be one of the 16 teams that qualifies for the playoffs that start next weekend. And it is a 10-game sprint here in this division. Season for the Indy 11 started on May 16th. It will wrap on June 27th. Here's Olivia Smith. Play it back to the back line. Mackenzie Kruer from Roncalli High School play at Michigan State. Tegan Albert now will play it back to Emily Edwards. Again, this is a younger team. Frankly, not all that young in terms of in comparison to kind of other teams in the league. But at the same time, young by the Indy standards as well.
Yeah, and they're not that young compared to the Racing Louisville side they're facing as well. And what's cool about this USLW squad is with Racing Louisville having that NWSL club, they can move players up and down with this pre-professional league.
Of course, you've got both Racing Louisville now and Lexington that are professional teams on the women's side. Big part of the advantage is the flag goes up here. Again, now that there's no NWSL draft, this is very much a pathway. And it's part of the reason, I think, quite frankly, without having asked her beforehand, I asked Carson Cherry, hey, I think that's why she's playing with Louisville this summer and not playing here with Indy.
Yeah, and it makes sense, not having an NWSL draft, that's in season for these coaches that are trying to potentially, quote-unquote, recruit for that draft. This gives them another opportunity to see a wide variety of talent.
Well, certainly the feeling out process here in the early stages of the match, although there's a lot of players that know each other well, especially Addie Chester having played at Louisville before transferring home to play at Ball State. There's always been a heavy Louisville presence here with the Indy 11. Paul Dolinsky was a big part of that. Now you'll see more of these U of L players playing for Racing Louisville and staying at home to play their summer soccer.
Yeah, that Louisville area packed with some good D1 programs. You talk about Xavier, University of Cincinnati, Louisville, obviously. Western Kentucky, we were talking about, is becoming a bit of a mid-major powerhouse.
Emma Teague, that is the netminder for Racing Louisville. She is the Indiana native, plays for Angie Lensing at multi-time state champions Evansville Memorial. In fact, she will be a senior in high school this coming fall. She allowed all of 5 goals in 16 matches playing for the Tigers at the high school level this year.
And you made the great point, Greg, going up a division as well, so facing some higher competition shots.
Yeah, the only problem is that they have to play Castle in the postseason now in their 3A. As they have, and their boys have to kind of bounce back and forth from 2A to 3A. Sahaki the target. She's going to play at Xavier. She scored the last time we saw the Indy 11 women here. By the way, this portion of this match is brought to us by our friends at Community Health Sports Medicine. Exceptional care simply delivered. Here's Tegan Albert. Talked about her story a couple of weeks ago. She was a college athlete in 2 different sports, both in soccer as well as swimming and diving.
Yeah, she's really become a mainstay in the back line for the Indy 11. You know, from the beginning of the season to now, she's really become that winger that can get forward and is not afraid to fly into tackles around the midway line.
Yamazaki and Komori both on the pitch for the Indy 11 as well. Sahaki again the target up top. He spent time playing for the Indy 11 Academy. Also spent time playing at Bishop Chittard High School locally. This is Reese's second different stint with the girls in blue. Here's Komori. Remember the Marshall program. Now Yamazaki. And Yamazaki played at the junior college level last year at Arizona Western. Good pressure that time by Indy. Pinto, Sahaki, the touch for Chester. Couple of touches, looking to make the turn, trying to find a teammate, and eventually does so to find Sahaki. Smith, good combination play. Smith looking to take the blast, could not get it through. But it falls right to Sahaki, but then she turns it over. And now numbers go in the other direction. Counter opportunity here for Racing Louisville. Good hustle back by the Indy 11. That's Chatterton. And the ball kind of shepherded back by another Nobles Miller and Lauren Adam. Make sure that ball made its way to Emily Edwards.
Yeah, you mentioned Lauren Adams stepping into that center back role. Also a Purdue player, going to be familiar with that communication between Emily Edwards. And as a former goalkeeper, I'm always excited when I'm playing with someone familiar in front of me, especially at the center back position.
Well, again, 1-0 was the earlier matchup between these two teams. In other words, that's probably a precursor as to what we might expect in terms of this one. I want to thank our friends at Johnson Controls. Johnson Controls, the power behind your mission. Thanks for their support of both Indy 11 men's and women's soccer. Of course, this fits in nicely with the summer of soccer. The men in the midst of 5 consecutive Saturdays at home. 3 more of that group left to go. In fact, you can catch the Indy 11 men tomorrow night on ESPN2 as they take on the Tampa Bay Rowdies from Al Lang Stadium.
My pup thoroughly enjoyed dog night at Michael Carroll. It was a great one.
Did you see when they brought that dog named Peppa Pig to me in the broadcast?
I missed the broadcast because I was there.
Best part of the night. Yamazaki has a hit from distance, could not clear. Good job to play that ball into space. Here's Chatterton again, the former Noblesville Miller and Tennessee Volunteer who will wrap up her career at Indiana University this fall.
Seen some really good patience so far from the 11 in the attack. You saw Risa Hockey getting wide, creating width. They're not settling for just any shot. They're combining and trying to find the best shot they can right now.
Bounding ball headed away. And for what it's worth, Racing Louisville can catch Kings Hammer on points. They have to win tonight. Kings Hammer would have to lose out to Lexington in a pair of matches, however. Kings Hammer took 2 of 3 from Racing Louisville. So they own the head-to-head tiebreaker. And these teams here, that pass was a little nervy going back to goal. And the second one, not surprisingly, just blasted as far as Edwards could hit it. And these teams do a great job of pulling from their local area, and again, all having now academy programs. So this really is kind of the young players from the Indy area, the Cincinnati area, the Louisville area, the Lexington area.
Yeah, and really throughout, the whole Valley Division, you see that as these Midwestern cities and just pulling from those soccer hotspots.
In other words, this area has become a giant soccer hotspot, which is great to see. Chester again makes the turn. That signature red headband of hers that makes her so easy to track. A couple of touches. Blast doesn't get through. Carson Cherry got in the way. And Carson played in the first ever W League match that was held here against Kingshammer back in May of 2022. She did so while she was a senior at Central Catholic High School. Played for not one but 2 state championships, soccer and basketball, in her days at Central Catholic. One of those were contested in this building. A 1A game against Park Tudor for the state title. So far, possession, I wouldn't say controlled, but in favor of the Indy 11.
I definitely agree with that, Greg. I think, you see them controlling more of the pace, doing what they want with it. With that being said, we've seen Racing Louisville go back the other way on some counterattacks.
No really nervy moments in and around the 18 just yet. Some space stop right here. That pass a little bit too strong. Albert having to hustle back. Turn made here. Potential opportunity. The blast and lifted up and over the bar. It will be a corner kick coming, but best scoring threat of the match belonged to the visitors.
Yeah, it was a great attack there by Racing Louisville. They get the ball wide, able to find Lily Lund attacking it, and then lays it back out to Millie Davies there at the top. Just goes over, and Emily Edwards with a great reaction save, tips it over the top. Now they got to defend the corner.
So corner to be taken. Isabel Smith will handle that. Isabel celebrated her 21st birthday a couple of weeks ago. And there's sometimes in the corners that we'll simply lose some of the action. Ball headed away. Opportunity here. Can Sahaki get to it? Ball got around Cherry, but got around Sahaki as well. Anna Grace Gibson, who plays at the University of Louisville, able to track it down for the Racing Louisville Academy. There's Teague. Good pressure by Albert. 50-50 ball, though, finds its way to Betsy Huckabee. She, too, a Louisville Cardinal. Just waiting for a teammate in the window to open up. And just not enough space to blast that one through. Smith got in the way for Indy. That takes a hit off an Indy player, and we'll just make sure that player's all right. It'll be Racing's possession.
Yeah, we had mentioned earlier Tegan Albert's aggressiveness to come into tackles at the midfield line, and we saw the downside of that there. She flies in, unfortunately beat on the 50-50 ball, and then you've got Mackenzie Crew that's got to rotate over to make the stop there.
On the restart, almost treated that as a set piece, which you might as well do it from that position. Pretty good recognition there by Racing to do so. And a chance to hit the reset button here for Racing. I want to thank our friends at AES Indiana. AES Indiana, accelerating the future of energy together. Throw-in coming now for Indy. Thanks to our ISC Sports Network crew. Director-producer Charlie Hammock. Thanks to Daryl Tibbs, the new dad Jason Porter, Vince Morales, and David Kahn. Guys, thanks for your hard work on this Tuesday night. And we'll do this one more time for this summer. And Indy plays host to the Dayton Dutch Lions. A franchise that is significant in the history of the Indy 11 on the men's side. Indy's first win in a competitive match, the 2014 U.S. Open Cup against the Dayton Dutch Lions. And their head coach, Sid Van Drunen, now the men's coach at IU Indianapolis.
Small world.
It is.
Especially in soccer, huh?
Very much so. Pinto steps in the way. She had the opening tally in Indy's last home win against Lexington. Great read by Chatterton, which is what she does so well. And injuries really have plagued her the last couple of years, and thought a teammate would make a corresponding run. Didn't happen, but good to see Chatterton's speed on display.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for an outside winger like Chatterton or Albert on the other side. Someone that's going to be able to pick up the ball, attack the defense, and make something dangerous happen. Unfortunately, just not able to find the connecting ball on that last one, but every time they don't, they're closer to finding it.
Flick forward, took the keeper a beat to kind of make the read as to where that was going to end up. Able to quickly slow the progress. Smith coming back to the ball. Entering her senior year at Indiana. Olivia, 49 matches played for the Hoosiers. Good pressure being applied here. Indy in a tough spot and leads to a potentially tricky turnover. Brianna Dardano. Bending ball in, but quickly read by Indy. And as expected, not much separating these two tonight.
No, not much. Like you mentioned, the 1-0 scoreline earlier this season, and honestly, just those top 4 teams have been very, very competitive throughout this sprint of a season.
Bouncing ball here that Indy couldn't track down. Flat ball across the middle can often be trouble, but no harm done to racing. In fact, opportunity here, but the turf bounce got to him, and throw in coming now for Indy.
You're exactly right, Greg. We don't want to see those straight flat balls, especially across the back. With that being said, Indy 11 now needs to take that opportunity to step forward and put some pressure on that back line.
Match starting to tilt towards the visitors just a little bit. And while Indy has typically had the better of racing in their 3 years, now 4 years playing together in this league, they have been amongst the toughest competition every year. That has usually been the team that Indy has kind of set their watch to. Kings Hammer has always been tough to play for Indy. Saw them make tremendous strides last year, and now leading to a division championship. Good read by Lauren Adam. Throw-in coming here for racing. Today's match brought to us by CareSource, individual and family health insurance, reimagining health insurance. Space here on the left side. But can racing do anything with it? Indy doing a good job of keeping their shape behind the ball. Again, that ball ended up being put in a difficult spot, but nothing that Lily Lund could do to put much power behind it. But again, that clearance did not go well. But eventually a foul called against racing, and Indy gets out of a self-made predicament.
Yeah, saved by the bell there, or whistle, if you will. Just a poor clearance, hit the Indy 11 defender in the back, and luckily they get the turnover there. But you took the words right out of my mouth. You know, Indy 11 women doing a great job rotating there, staying structurally defensively well, and Emily Edwards able to clean it up.
Chester trying to get it back to her right foot. Just couldn't get a window, but still pressing forward. Chester, first team All-Mid-American Conference this year. Playing at Ball State, of course, from Delaware County. Played at Delta High School. When time allows, we'll get a special guest to give Kristen a few minutes off here on the broadcast. I'm not sure I've ever had somebody in the starting lineup join the broadcast 20 minutes in before.
She can do anything.
The first for everything, right?
Exactly.
Opportunity here, and offside flag goes up. So with that, I'll have Kristen doff the headsets, and we are thrilled to be joined. Well, I'm happy that she's joining us. I wish she was out there playing, but Grace Barr in full uniform has made her way up to our broadcast location. This has got to be really weird for you to be watching the match in uniform, sitting here talking to me.
It is very weird. This is a different viewpoint for me, but I'm happy to experience it.
Well, we just talked to you a few weeks ago in terms of at halftime of one of the men's games. Tell us about what unfortunately happened to you in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so little bit less than 2 weeks ago, I tore my other ACL.
How about that for a hit? Sometimes the game gets in the way
That's
of those
okay,
interviews.
as it should,
Yep.
as long as it's going that way.
There you go.
Tore my other ACL against King's Hammer, so I'm sidelined for the rest of this season, but it's good to support in a different capacity.
Now, I know the word a retirement to some degree has been kind of thrown around. Is this going to be it for you from a competitive soccer standpoint?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was coming sooner rather than later, and it had been something that I had been thinking about. I wish I could have gone out on my terms under different circumstances, but everything happens for a reason. So I think finishing out the season, there are other people who can play center back who get to go into college and go back to college who can get more experience. So it's all good.
What was it like to be ceremonially in the starting lineup tonight and to receive a framed jersey before the match?
Yeah, I'm not one for a ton of attention or credit, so part of me was a bit uncomfortable, but then the other part of me was just filled with a ton of gratitude, especially from my teammates and then a teammate turned rival for the night as well, so it was awesome.
That, of course, being Carson Cherry from Racing Louisville, as Grace Barr is kind enough to join us again, still scoreless here inside at Grand Park. Opportunity here, and finds the back of the net. So we'll interrupt the interview for just a moment. That's outstanding goal scored by Isabel Smith. So Smith gets the goal and make it 1-0 in favor of Racing. How'd you begin to describe what these 4 years have been like for you getting to wear the Indy 11 logo and crest on your shoulder?
Yeah, I think what's incredible about it is I started the first season that Indy 11 W League started as well. So it's been awesome to be a part of it from its inception and see the growth over 4 years. So being a veteran of the team each year and being able to welcome back familiar faces and new faces, I think has been my favorite part, and just seeing how people continue to grow year over year or month over month and game over game has been unbelievable.
You have been coaching ever since you got here. You were an assistant coach on the team originally. Now you're coaching at a younger level. So what's the coaching duties like for you these days?
Yeah, so coaching duties are going to go to a rival ECNL club,
Okay.
exiting Indianapolis in its entirety, but going back to my hometown club that kind of sparked it all and began it all for me. So going back to my roots, and I think the time that I've had here at Indy 11 is the reason why I'm able to do that and step into the role back home in Ohio.
What will you miss about Indianapolis and this organization?
It was really hard to tell the girls that I coached that I wasn't coming back. That was very emotional and difficult for me. At 10, 11, 12 years old, the relationship and the friendship that I've built with them to challenge them as people and as players is something that I'm just going to miss tremendously. And then I just think Indianapolis as a whole has been nothing bad except for 2 ACLs has ever come out of Indianapolis. But it's – sorry, I was hoping nothing was going to happen there. But it's nothing but amazing feelings for me, and I think it's a bittersweet opportunity.
You know, you would think winning a championship would be a favorite moment, but frankly, that was also the site of ACL injury
Yes.
number 1. So I guess it merits asking the question, what is your favorite moment in Indy 11 uniform?
That is still the favorite moment, no matter what. I was still on my parents' insurance, so shout out to them. So it was no discredit to myself. So a championship and then immediately on a plane to Mexico for a pre-planned vacation is still an unbelievable memory. So that's still number 1, no matter what individual circumstances happen.
We reference this because of Carson Cherry playing in the game, but you were here for the opening night in the history of the league, and this place was packed. We were here too early in May of 2022. What were your expectations going in, and then what was it like being a part of that night?
Yeah, I think my expectations for the level of soccer were extremely high. That was put as an expectation when I committed to coming here to play, but my expectation for the environment and the fans and the excitement was far surpassed than anything I could have imagined. So that has been amazing from day one against King's Hammer, 3-1 win in 2022 on our home turf. From then until now, it's been incredible.
Well, you know, the first kind of club legend on the men's side is a guy named Brad Ring, who was the first guy that got to play in 100 matches for the club. We don't play that many matches, but I kind of get a similar feeling about you. You will forever be linked with whatever happens with the W League here as one of the godfathers, for lack of a better term. And I'm knowing you, you will embrace that and love that. It's been a pleasure to call your matches these last 4 years. Best of luck, whatever's coming in the future for you.
Thank you so much.
All right, now you can get back to the sideline like you used to.
All right, 5 minutes, I'll be there.
There you go. Grace Barr, kind enough to join us, and as you can tell, doesn't miss the chance for a bit of humor when the opportunity presents itself either. Thank you, Joe Gentry, for hooking that up in terms of our mid-match interview, and frankly, you will get to hear that again coming up on Soccer Saturday, coming up this weekend on both 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. She's got jokes, Cheese. Be ready. On the cutback, here comes Racing Louisville. So we can Indy chase the match 1-0.
I know the best part about that interview was hearing she's going back to Cincinnati and not going to take my job.
If you couldn't tell, Kristen also does a little bit of coaching in the local area as well.
Yeah, Grace has been just an amazing resource for the soccer community the past couple years here in Indianapolis, you know, from coaching at the club levels to working with individuals at the Sogility, all different kinds of, you know, impact that she's had on the youth here in Indianapolis.
Thank our friends at IMCU. Show your Indy 11 pride. Get your exclusive IMCU Indy 11 debit card at any IMCU branch or online at imcu.com today. Well, we will certainly miss Grace around here. But you kind of felt, and she alluded to it as well, that, you know, Indy has been a little bit different in terms of, yes, there's been opportunities for, you know, the pre-professional players, for players still playing at the collegiate level to improve their skills. But we frankly have had several former pros, and Grace is amongst that group that have played for the team. And you may start to see that start to transition out a little bit. I think we've gone through that over the course of these last 6 weeks.
Yeah, you know, we mentioned it as far as some of these players that have been here from the beginning. And, you know, there does kind of get an age and an injury and just a physical limitation. But, you know, Grace has continued to play at the top level, as have many of these other players that have, you know, since graduated college. And it, unfortunately, it's part of playing competitively, you know.
There are 2 undefeated parents all time. Mother Nature, Father Time. Unbeaten. Opportunity here. Good-looking cut back. Indy's got a pair of defenders there, and it'll be a corner. Probably should have handled a little bit more precisely by the Indy 11, but no goal comes out of it yet. Another look going to come here for Racing Louisville.
Yeah, and those sort of interactions, it's either the keeper is screaming, yelling, and you're too afraid to touch that ball, or the defender's probably not listening, but somewhere not on that same communication page, and they end up giving up a corner.
Edwards in goal for the Indy 11. Starting goalkeeper for the Purdue Boilermakers last year. Ball comes in, goes all the way through. Headed back, but behind the net. And a goal kick coming here for Indy. And more on Edwards. She allowed 17 goals in 15 matches with Purdue a season ago. As Carson Cherry, speaking of West Lafayette, drifts back to the back line. Last year, Purdue went 7-9-2. And obviously an improved Big Ten with the additions of UCLA, USC, Washington, and Oregon.
Yeah, talk about a couple women's soccer powerhouses. That was one sport that was not happy to see the Big Ten additions.
Hey, league was pretty good in the first place. Just got better. Throw in coming here for Racing. And this is Racing's 10th and final match of the year. They wrap it up tonight. Indy and Dayton here on Friday night. Kristen and I will be back together with you at 7 o'clock on Friday here on the ISC Sports Network. Bounce of the ball. Helped Chester for a moment. But then quickly racing back to track it down is Brianna Dardano. Dardano about to enter her sophomore year at Xavier. Good looking run here. Left-footed shot that Edwards couldn't take a chance on it. Well played by Racing.
Yeah, well done by Emily Edwards there to get down, get two hands behind the ball. Obviously, you'd love to see her hold it, but better safe than sorry. Tips it wide. But even more props to Racing there on that attack. You saw them carrying the ball, attacking towards the center, and they still had, who was that? It looked like Davies there cutting through the back line. Indy 11 starting to play a little bit higher on those four, and you'll see Emily Edwards coming out to sweep.
Frankly, since Racing got the goal, they have taken firm control of the match. Bending ball in, headed down. That's why you tuck somebody in back post. A little help for the keeper there. Toe poke away by Ali Pinto.
Looked like she had one of her own teammates in the goal as well.
Ali Pinto going to be at Notre Dame this coming fall. Had a chance to reconnect with the former head coach of the Indy 11 in Martin Rennie. Martin helped recommend Ali to play for Brandon Kim because Indy 11 fans, if you've not kept track of Martin, he's on the women's staff at the University of Notre Dame. So we'll have him on Soccer Saturday in the near future to talk about that change of life experience for him, going from the men's professional ranks, having coached in the States, in Scotland, in Korea, and in Canada, to now being an assistant women's soccer coach in the ACC.
I love that, though. You know what? Why not try your hand at a different spot, a different gender, different level? I like it.
Tonight's match brought to us by AES Indiana, accelerating the future of energy together. Goal kick coming here for the Indy 11. And a very busy week for both the Indy 11 men and women. Both play twice. Indy 11 men in Jägermeister Cup play. Foul on the jersey tug. I don't think there's anything that's card-worthy there, but at least just a talking to. And even in a pre-professional level, you can have a professional foul, and that was one of them. That was I'm beat. Let me slow you down a little bit. Let's just have a reset here. Sahaki with space. First touch a little strong. Another takeaway by Racing. Possession getting shorter and shorter lived for the girls in blue right now. Cardano.
That's great patient defense there by Albert, just keeping her body behind the ball, doesn't want to give anything up there.
Ball goes all the way back to Carson Sharing. And out of Betsy Huckabee, those two teammates at the University of Louisville. Bending ball in. Ends up going further wide. Looking for a window. You got to time. Nope, I was going to say you got to time that tackle properly and deemed that it was not. So a point to the spot, penalty opportunity for the visitors to make it 2-0.
Yeah, and you said it right there, Greg. You've got to time it perfectly. Oh, just a poorly timed tackle. Player's already passed her and goes to the ground. That's dangerous every time.
That was Leah Cundy that drew the penalty. Isabel Smith, who had the first goal, will get a second look at it here and a chance for a first half brace. Scores. Edwards guessed right, but just couldn't get there in time. Make it 2 for the visitors, and Racing looks for a first win in this building. They're 2 goals to the good in the 33rd minute.
You know, and I think that penalty there, it's a symptom of not having the ball for a majority of this first half. You know, they've wasted a lot of energy having to defend, having to recover when they've turned the ball over, and that leads to, unfortunately, late tackles. And, you know, it was a good call by the referee. And, again, like you mentioned, Emily Edwards, excellent read, gets down maybe just a millisecond too late to get her hands there. A good effort, and the Indy 11 taking a second here to try and regroup and get back in this game.
Yeah, and frankly, this is something you don't often see. Kind of almost a players-only meeting on the park.
Seems needed at this point. You know,
Yeah.
They came out guns blazing. Possession was good. It was crisp. The forwards were connecting. And, you know, Racing Louisville just starting to pick up more of that possession has made the 11 uncomfortable.
Tonight's match presented in part by our friends at Community Health Network. Community Health Network, exceptional care simply delivered. Already more losses this season than we have seen in an Indy 11 campaign. When Indy lost back-to-back matches early in the year to this racing squad in the King's Hammer, you start to go, uh-oh, that playoff streak is in jeopardy. And again, that is now a thing of the past. The small chances they had erased with a 4-goal loss at Lexington on Friday night. Pressure applied by Sahaki leads to a turnover, but Cherry with a tremendous recovery. But Indy claims it back. Ball trying to find Sahaki. Didn't like what she had in the left foot and just put it behind Chester.
Yeah, an encouraging spell there for the 11. You feel like if they could get one back before the halftime here, they could get back into this and really come out with some life in the second half.
Opportunity here. Good read by Edwards. Kruer, I think, had control of it, but obviously if the keeper can take it, claim it.
Right, and it's sort of like we mentioned earlier, that back line is going to play a little bit higher because Racing Louisville is just trying to slide that ball through, and they've been successful a couple times, but that's why you'll see Edwards playing more at the PK spot in the top of her box.
A touch by Sahaki. How do you see Reese's game translating immediately to the Big East level?
Reese has been a high-level player for a long time. Yep. Let's just, we'll say it like that. She has been prepared for the collegiate level. With that being said, yeah, there's still a level difference. But, I think if there's going to be a prepared player heading into a Division I program, Reese Sahaki is one of the good examples you would have. I mean, she's trained with this team, trained with these level of players for years. Obviously, if good size, she's fairly developed as far as you're not going to see any weird growth spurts. She's a dream as far as a college recruit.
And T quickly over to pounce on that one with Chester lurking in the area. And Reese will pop back up quickly, we hope. I was going to say that was, for a teenage player, pretty wisely done. When you're hit like that, drop. And
I was about to say she can do that too.
Get the whistle.
Didn't want to call her out too much, but no, it was great work.
Wise beyond her years.
Yep. And that's, that's the cool development opportunity that these USLW clubs offer you. Is everything from the youth academy up into that NWSL or USLW squad.
It's going to need to be a handball, as Pinto had that ball directed back at her. Restart coming here for Racing in minute number 37. Just the fourth home match of the year for the Indy 11. Their losses have, other than the King's Hammer 3-2 loss here, have all come away from home. Throw in coming. They are overruled by the referee. And then quickly just kind of realize, yep, flag point in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm. It's that quick. Nope, I saw you.
Control here, Dardano plays a teammate wide. Bending ball in. Indy able to clear momentarily, but not completely. Already having a brace. Smith looks for a little bit more.
Man, you see Sahaki get sucked back in there defensively, and you love the help, but then there's no outlet pass to get up to, and now you see them Chester trying to get up.
Chester in stride. That actually may help her out a little bit, frankly, to slow the tempo and allow some teammates to join in the attack. Proper run made here, but just a little too strong on the touch.
Yeah, better combination there. You see, Amy Kamori combining with Chester, and just this is the first couple times those two are both being forwards together. So trying to find that timing. You throw in Risa Hockey as well. It's going to take a second to find that final ball.
We mentioned Sahaki playing beyond her years. Emma Teague, you'd say the exact same thing in goal for her. I mean, she is a senior to be at Memorial High School in Evansville. She did not allow a goal the last month of their season.
Yeah, she hasn't had to do much tonight, but
No.
those stats certainly tell a story.
Long distance ball. All the way to the corner flag before being tracked down by Racing. And then that'll be a foul against Racing Louisville. Good job to hold her position by the Indy 11 defender. I think that's Chatterton that was making the play. That's going to be Pinto that able to hold up the action in front of the corner flag.
Smart play there. Just keeps possession, draws the foul. Easy clearance.
Maury could not do much with that. Good speed here. Adam doing her best to keep up. Just looking for that window. Couple of quick glances on goal, nothing there. Now making the turn at the edge of the 18.
Oof, that's a stinger.
And this is where Indy has lived dangerously. They have had a tough time getting the ball out of this part of the park. Good cut back there. That's Smith with two oncoming attackers chasing her. Give and go to Chester. Here's the look. But again, Chester just kind of stepped on it in the opposite direction. I'm not sure anybody has covered as much ground as Smith has so far tonight for the Indy 11.
You see Albert up there now, too.
Well, you're not exactly worried about goal differential at this point, knowing your season ends on Friday. You're just kind of going out and getting it as best you can. Tonight's match brought to us by Johnson Controls. Johnson Controls, the power behind your mission. Chance for the Indy 11 to crank up a little pressure. They just haven't had much possession around the 18 in which to do so.
Yeah, they haven't. And so I think as the game goes on and you don't have those chances, you get more and more, I don't want to say nervous, but tense when you do have those opportunities. And sometimes that can lead to just some poor decisions or bad last balls played through, which ends up just squandering any attack you've got.
Albert. And that'll be a foul against Racing. Just enough of a nudge as Albert was stepping on the ball.
Yeah, no matter how much pressure you get, if you've got the two hands on the back and a player's going down, you're probably getting called for a foul on that one.
And Teagan played at Olivet Nazarene, south side of Chicago, the NAI level, and then spent a year as a competitive diver at the University of Northern Colorado.
Two different sports in two very different regions.
Right. It's the sport combination that catches your attention. You'll have a lot of players, and not the collegiate level, mind you, but you know, when you look at these bios, so-and-so played soccer and ran competitive track and field. That makes sense. Those skill sets overlap. In Cherry, we mentioned her, high school basketball star and high school soccer star as well.
Yeah, basketball, we've seen a few volleyball crossovers.
That would be Mackenzie Crewer, who is heading into the mix, won a state title in November at Ball State. She's going to go to Michigan State to play soccer. Talked about her story 3 weeks ago. Mom and dad, both college volleyball players, and she is going the college soccer route. So a chance to get one back here in the closing moments of half number one. Chester sends it in, but apparently did so before getting the official blessing of our match referee.
She'll take a redo on that ball, I think. Easily cleared by the Racing Louisville defender on that first attempt.
And now a reminder, wait for the whistle for our referee to get into position. And now giving the official go-ahead.
Ooh, I like
Looking
that.
back post. Again, like the design, Racing does respond. Throw-in coming here that Albert will take for the Indy 11.
I love that low-driven ball, whether it's from that angle, from the corner across, because all you need is one errant touch from either your team or the other team, and something dangerous could happen.
Touch here, but couldn't find a teammate. Good counter ball here. Adam racing over, and will get there and makes the wise decision. Don't do anything too spectacular. Just knock it sideways and live to fight another day.
Especially with the speed we've seen Brianna Dardano show this half. She is speedy up that end line.
And you mentioned Brooke. We've already seen Brooke this year. She plays at U of L as well. Chester comes up a little bit gimpy at the end of the play. And for these players, knowing that this portion of their summer is over with, they'll be getting to campus pretty quickly. There are preseason friendlies and exhibitions. 1 minute, by the way, of additional time here in the half. Edwards catches the bounce, but they'll start playing college matches about 5 weeks from now. Regular season in mid-August. On August 14th, August 15th is when non-conference games get underway.
Call it the ghost summer month. While both soccer teams have to report back to campus, and no one else is quite there yet. But it is hot in 2 days, and like you said, fast. Games happen before you know it.
And for the most part, you're playing every Thursday, Sunday, kind of that sort of pace in non-conference season.
Well, it's another important aspect that the USLW League offers is the ability to keep your fitness up. That's not a lot of quote-unquote preseason time to get back in shape and prevent injuries as you launch right into a full collegiate schedule.
Albert deemed to have just taken that across the touchline. So a throw in coming here. I want to thank our friends at CareSource. CareSource, individual and family health insurance, reimagining health insurance. Edwards right to the line to make the play. In one brilliant goal from outside of the 18 and one spot kick. Edwards couldn't do much on either one of those. Those two goals really not on her watch.
Yeah, that first goal was a rocket off of the right foot, and, did her best to get a hand up, but it was fast.
I figured of the two of us, probably should let you defend the goalkeeper more, since that was your given
It is my
trade for so
personal,
many.
this is my passion to defend all goalkeepers. With the season that Emily Edwards has had for the 11, there's not very many knocks any reasonable person would put on them.
And she missed the last match playing for a national ID camp opportunity. And that's enough for half number one. Well, it was even about the first 10, 15 minutes or so. Racing Louisville took the lead and then took control of the match. One from the run of play, one from the spot, both by Isabel Smith, and Racing Louisville looking to send Indy to a 5th loss in 9 matches so far this season. At the break, it's Racing Louisville 2 and the Indy 11-0. Stay tuned. Halftime coverage comes your way next as you're watching on the ISC Sports Network.
This is Molly. She loves road trips, hikes, her dog Max, and cars that fit her lifestyle, like this cool new ride that she got with help from Indiana Members Credit Union at a great low rate. And for when she's on the go, IMCU makes it easy for her to pay from anywhere thanks to their digital banking. Looks like Molly is really getting the max from her credit union.
Imagine a health insurance company that could look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals and help its members find what they need to actually live healthier lives, like a stable job, dependable transportation, or a safe place to live. Well, that health insurance company is not only real, but making a real difference right now. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining health insurance.
I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, but sometimes I get a little stressed because I'm not for sure what's going to happen down the road. I was at the cancer unit, and when I come out from seeing the doctor, I said something about needing some help with all the paperwork. They gave me a name and a phone number. Her name is Molly. She works over at Community. She tells me, stop worrying, let me take care of it. She is my angel.
Stand by me.
Welcome back to the Grand Park Indoor Events Center. Alongside Kristen Hazley, Greg Rakestraw with you on the ISC Sports Network. Racing 2 and the Indy 11-0. Overall observations, Kristen, on half number one.
You gave it a pretty good wrap-up as we went to halftime there. You know, a really competitive first 10 to 15 minutes. You would even venture to say the Indy 11 dominated possession in that first portion of the half there. As soon as Racing Louisville got that first goal, they started dominating possession and really just controlled the pace for the rest of the half.
If you're Brandon Kim, tactically, what can you change? And messaging, what are you sharing at halftime?
Well, I think messaging-wise, you know, it's pretty easy to tell a soccer team that 2-0 is the most dangerous score in soccer. We hear it growing up since the time we're 5 years old. So there's not really much effort you need to make as far as convincing your squad that you are still in this game, especially with some of the bursts of possession and solid attacks that we've seen from Addie Chester, Risa Hockey, Amy Kamori, that three-pronged attack in the forward. But honestly, you really got to look to just create more possession. And how do you stay in the game when you don't have the ball?
Let's take a look at the standings, and we've kind of told the story. Kings Hammer has clinched the division. Again, they've got 2 matches left in Lexington. They finish against each other over the course of the week. Dayton has 1 left. That match is here. It has obviously been a significant struggle, as you can see, from their goal differential and through 9 matches played. They and Indy will play each other on Friday night. Again, you kind of take Dayton out of the mix. Those other 4 teams are really solid. And, you know, we have seen some of the other teams in terms of national level playoffs and things like that. I'm not sure there's many divisions that have 4 teams of this quality that we do here in the Valley Division that Indy competes in.
I mean, you've touched on kind of all the reasons why, right?
Yeah.
These great collegiate programs, the youth programs that feed into these pre-professional teams, and the opportunity to go forward, whether that's in another USL team or with the NWSL, and that all breeds these competitive teams that these players want to play on in the summer.
So again, that's the look at the Valley Division standings. Indy will wrap up their season on Friday night against the Dayton Dutch Lions. And I know Chris and I have kind of offered this question a couple of different times, but as someone that played at a Division I level, in other words, you were looking to play in places like this during the summer. You've been watching matches over the last few years, now getting to commentate on them and see them night in, night out. What has been your impression of this league so far?
It's such a unique league in the rules that it allows, the player eligibility. There's not another league that allows this conglomerate of talent to come together, train together, and feed off of each other. You know, you talk about that from just the off-the-field stuff. From on the field, I've simply seen the level of play and talent rise year after year after year. And I think it's because more players are realizing what a great option that the USLW League is for them in the summer, whether it's staying in shape, you know, developing further, or trying to get looks from a potential professional league.
We'll take this quick timeout. We'll come back with some first half highlights and kind of recapping half number 1 of the season has been for the Indy 11 women, and talk about what's coming up next for the Indy 11 men as well. The penultimate match of this 2025 season sees Racing Louisville lead Indy 2-0. We're back in 2 minutes on the ISC Sports Network.
Forget all those DIY schemes to try to keep your family cool. Because at Williams Comfort Air, we've got your back.
Ma'am, everything's up and running.
We look forward to keeping your home comfortable for life.
The summer of soccer is here with the Indy 11. And you've got the chance to win a getaway to Charleston, South Carolina. When you grab our Summer of Soccer ticket deal, you get 10 entries into the Summer of Soccer Getaway Sweepstakes for a chance at a trip for 2 with flights, hotels, and meals covered. All this while you get to have a blast with the boys in blue all summer. Get your tickets now at Indy11.com. Back inside the Grand Park Indoor Event Center, Greg Rakestraw, Kristen Hazley, and thanks to David Kahn, Charlie Hammock, Daryl Tibbs, Jason Porter, and Vince Morales. Here's a look back at highlights of half number 1. Obviously, we tend to broadcast these from an Indy 11 perspective. Let's also note, hey, the NWSL squad that has a W League team, they got a pretty good talent base. They've been fun to watch.
They have, and ever since they've gotten a hold on possession, and you mentioned it, just around the top of the 18, it feels like they're rearing up, ready for something dangerous to happen. And you kind of see it in this compilation of highlights here, just being able to dominate the possession around the outside of the box and take their chances going at goal.
And again, first goal from one to play, second goal that happened is this one could have easily been a second. That's why you tuck a player inside that back post. Here's the tackle that, again, just got, and frankly, even our camera angle is a little bit blocked. Referee has a better look without the player, and you saw from that slow motion replay, it was leg, then ball, proper call.
Yeah, it's a good call, and you see Emily Edwards' effort there on the penalty kick, and does a good job of getting down to her left, just unable to push it wide.
So again, our score at the break, it is Racing Louisville 2 and the Indy 11-0. Again, both teams, men and women, play twice this week. Indy 11 men at Tampa Bay in St. Petersburg tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. That match is on ESPN2. So one of two national television appearances for the Indy 11 men this season. The women wrap up their regular season, or their season in total, against Dayton on Friday night at 7 o'clock. Kristen and I have that one. Then Brad Ring and I are back together on Saturday night when the Indy 11 returns to Jägermeister Cup play against the Birmingham Legion. If we have an outright winner of that match, even with one match left to go, that team will win the group and know they will qualify for the quarterfinals, which will start at some point in time in August. If you're unfamiliar with what the Jägermeister Cup is, it is a first-year competition between all 38 teams in the fully professional USL ecosystem. The 24 teams in the championship, the 14 teams in League One, put into 6 different regional groups. Indy's group, 3 teams from the championship, meaning Indy, Tulsa, Birmingham. 3 teams from League One, Chattanooga, Knoxville, Forward, Madison. Indy already has wins at Madison, at Knoxville. Their 2 games against championship competition are at home, Birmingham and FC Tulsa. But both teams, Indy and Birmingham, sitting on 6 points. 3 points for regulation win. If we're tied after 90, we go straight to kicks. Winner of that would get 2 points. Loser would get 1. So there's no detriment for losing if you lose in kicks. Normally you get a point for a regulation draw regardless. So again, the way the math works, if either Indy or Birmingham win in regulation, that team is on to the quarterfinals. That comes your way on Saturday night, ESPN Plus, and My Indy TV. We hope you join us there. We'll take this quick timeout. We'll come back. Second half action is not too far away. Racing Louisville's W League Squad 2, the Indy 11-0. Back in 2 minutes on the ISC Sports Network.
Imagine a health insurance company that could look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals and help its members find what they need to actually live healthier lives, like a stable job, dependable transportation, or a safe place to live. Well, that health insurance company is not only real, but making a real difference right now. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining health insurance.
It's very true that it takes a village to raise a child. And when it comes to my healthcare village at Community Health Network, it's all nestled right in my phone. Accessing healthcare is the ability to be connected with your provider and ask a question when you need it. I feel like when I'm meeting with a community nurse practitioner or doctor, they're tuned in to what is going on with me and the way that they can serve me best.
This is Molly. She loves road trips, hikes, her dog Max, and cars that fit her lifestyle, like this cool new ride that she got with help from Indiana Members Credit Union at a great low rate. And for when she's on the go, IMCU makes it easy for her to pay from anywhere thanks to their digital banking. Looks like Molly is really getting the max from her credit union.
Back at Grand Park, again, one more women's soccer match in this building, and then largely the area we're on right now, we turn over to the Indianapolis Colts as training camp gets underway at the end of July. Again, is it Williams Comfort Air cool in here? I made sure I thought of an Indy 11 sponsor.
Well done.
Probably not, but is it 15 to 20 degrees cooler? It would be outside. Absolutely it is. If you're Brandon Kim, what do you want to see from your team here in the opening moments of half number 2?
Well, I'd like to see them come out with a renewed energy like they did in the first half. You know, can you come out and can you seize possession right away? Can you seize that momentum and try and put the pressure on Racing Louisville? You really haven't so far in this game, and you haven't tested the keeper at all. You very rarely kind of push the defensive to that breaking point. So let's see what happens if you do.
I want to thank our friends at Penn Station. They provided our dinner for our crew tonight with the ISC Sports Network. Penn Station, it's all about good taste. We'll see what substitutions, if any, we'll have to start half number 2. Both teams in front of their benches and ready to reclaim and retake the field. Indy have played their last 3 matches at home. There you see part of the unique nature of this facility. Yes, there is a bar at the south end of the building. Pretty cool perspective to be able to watch the match and get your favorite beverage as well.
Catch some sports while you're watching sports.
Uh-huh. There's some sort of Zen thing that's involved there. So Tegan Albert will be exiting for the Indy 11. Kamori going to be exiting for the Indy 11 as well. So a couple of Indy 11 substitutions. Coming on now for Indy. Blair Satterfield will be joining into the mix, as will Emerson Jennings. I mentioned the University of Louisville ties in this match. Emerson, local product from Guerin Catholic High School, but has played the last 3 seasons at U of L and has 45 matches played during that time. For Indy, Blair Satterfield. Satterfield is a very familiar last name for high school sports in Hamilton County. Her dad, the longtime boys and then girls basketball coach at Hamilton Southeastern. Blair going to play at IU next fall. She had 6 goals at Hamilton Southeastern High School this past year. Looks like Elise May is out there too. Elise will be a senior this coming fall. She is able to play at Butler University. Had 12 goals and 4 assists in 15 matches at Fishers High School. So Indy has gone significantly younger here in half number 2. Good turn here by Racing Louisville. And obviously a chance to gain some experience here for some of the younger members of the Indy 11.
Well, absolutely. And those are some of the players that, you hope are going to be at the level to come back and play for you for years to come.
Molly Richards is in the game for Racing Louisville. Opportunity with the left foot here that just missed. Edwards was a spectator. Did not move on that shot taken by Aaliyah Kunde.
Yeah, Kunde again with that left foot, and we had a great angle from it here in the box, just sweeping left to right and almost tucked into that corner. And like you mentioned, Edwards was a spectator.
Kunde has played 4 years at Alabama, has 1 year left.
Going back for the same spot.
And I literally had to look at our producer and go, did we just show a replay? No, that actually happened in real time. That was second verse, same as the first. And literally, for the Indy 11 perspective, luckily, the same result.
Yeah, and she's one of, I believe, 2 Alabama players on this Racing Louisville roster. The other one was the goal scorer.
Yeah, Smith, yep.
Yep, Izzy Smith. Also the 2022 Gatorade Alabama's High School Player of the Year.
This is, again, the player from Guerin Catholic and Emerson Jennings. Our first chance to talk about her. Emerson, 3 goals and an assist in her days at the University of Louisville. Reference Carson Cherry. for Racing. Carson was the second leading goal scorer at the University of Louisville with 6 goals this past year. Carson digs in there but couldn't claim it, however. Looks like a foul is going to be whistled against Indy. So restart coming here in a matter of moments. Or is this going to go against Louisville? That's going to be the case, yep.
All right, set piece.
Whistled as a foul against Racing.
This is a golden opportunity coming out of halftime. Can you get one here off of a set piece and just pull it back a little bit closer to getting in grasp there?
Yeah, there was some befuddlement there from the Louisville defenders. Going, wait a minute. It was our player that was on the ground. How'd that work? But the referee saying, no, I'm pointing this direction for a reason. That's Addie Chester. Chester on the delivery. Can get all the way through. But it will be a corner coming here for the girls in blue.
Looked like a brilliant ball played in from Chester. Again, angles are always a little tricky, but looked like it was just in front, right where you want your forwards to run into it. If a defender's got to clear it going backwards, it's a good ball.
Looking for their first goal in 2 matches against Racing this year. We're shut out Friday night against Lexington as well. Good delivery here. It was set up, just couldn't make contact with it. And it was that combination volleyball and soccer player and Mackenzie Crewer. That is your target player bringing a defender up. Execution was there, just couldn't finish with the header.
Yeah, you mentioned Crewer, 6'1", easy target for set pieces and corner kicks, and that ball played in by Addie Chester was one of the most perfect corner kick flights you can play.
Yeah, Indy's a couple of players away from fielding a U18 team here at this point. And again, knowing your season's going to end on Friday, this kind of playing the long game to some degree if you're the Indy 11. Ball goes back to Edwards. Edwards very deftly with 2 oncoming attackers. Just kind of buzzing around. It's no big deal. I'll just play it over here. I'll go left, right, and knock it away.
She looked much more calm than I ever did with the ball at my feet in the box.
There's a freeze reference we made from the Haiti match a couple of nights ago that immediately comes to mind. The lone goal allowed by the U.S. men in the Gold Cup so far. Good step by Adam. Satterfield. Ball taken away by Smith. Good find to find Chester. Chester a touch to get around. May then springs her. It's a battle of the foot race. Back to May. Opportunity. Just poked away at the last minute.
That was a beautiful build-up, though. I mean, going forward, like we've mentioned, Olivia Smith everywhere on the field today, ends up with the ball, springs them forward, and the combination between Chester and May.
That's as good as the transition has looked for the Indy 11 tonight.
Agreed.
Throw in here taken by Chatterton. Yamazaki could not keep it at her feet. This portion of the match is brought to us by AES Indiana, accelerating the future of energy together. Here's Teague. Racing content just to kind of walk the ball up until pressured otherwise. Adam with a pretty solid shoulder in the Racing Louisville player. It's Millie Davies that was battling for it at the other end. Pinto will lift it a bit further. Nice touch there by Indy. Davies. Left foot doesn't get through. That was Crewer that got in the way. And offside flag goes up. For those of you watching from outside of the Indianapolis area where Mackenzie went to high school, both their boys and girls volleyball teams won state championships this past year. And Mackenzie played high school volleyball and club soccer during her days at Roncalli. And those sports obviously running to some degree simultaneously during the course of the fall. Always love when the workaround is offered, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches say, hey, let's make this work for you. Everybody wins in that scenario.
Absolutely. You know, I always wish more coaches would.
Lefty ball, but an Adam ball that Edwards will pad her stat total on the ball sent in by Davies.
Yeah, easily handled there by Edwards, makes a nice clean scoop save, secures it, able to go into transition. But Kruger and Adam have looked great in that back line so far this half.
Like the idea for the Route 1 ball there, even though you didn't complete the pass. Worst case is you're not going to throw in the attacking third. Like the speed of thought there by Indy.
Absolutely, and to second on that, now you've got support as well through the midfield.
Here's May. And the substitutions that were brought in by Indy, 2 of those players are high school seniors to be. Another's a college senior to be. And that'll be a foul called against Racing. Other thing is, too, and it's not all the way across the board, but there is a whole lot of Indianapolis area and, frankly, Hamilton County area talent that is on the field right now for the Indy 11. Ball finds May, but couldn't hang on to it. Dardano quickly sweeps it away. And that'll be another foul. And a card just shown for the first time. So Lily Lund picks up the first booking of the night.
Let's see on the replay here.
You can see why.
Yeah. Yep, that'll get it. And Lily Lund has been aggressive through most of this game, but that's kind of the first sloppy tackle she's had. She might have gotten that verbal warning in the first half, and that led to the card.
So restart coming here for the Indy 11. I want to thank our friends at the Renaissance Indianapolis North Hotel. Treat yourself to all you can stay at the Renaissance, just minutes away from both Grand Park and downtown Carmel. Edwards will take this to try and throw some more players forward. And pretty impressive. Kruger couldn't get to it, but again, Indy treating that like a set piece. Which tells you the strength of the right leg of the goalkeeper.
Anytime you can use it
here, Chester just couldn't cut it back. And then second time she's kind of come up a little gimpy at the end of a play. Chatterton using that speed. Finds May. May could have a hit from distance and just stood up just a little bit. Couldn't keep it low. Again, right decision to shoot. Just didn't execute the technique properly.
Right, and you're encouraged by obviously the possession that led up to the shot and the ability to find May there wide open. And you know what? She'll get there. You're like first shot of the match. It might take a second to bring it down.
And again, so many of these young players are used to playing up, but this is a whole different level.
Right.
You know, and for these players for Indy that are about to be high school seniors, you're playing players 3, 4, 5 years older than you. And frankly, unless you're playing a high school rivalry match, you're not used to playing in front of this type of crowd that you're seeing as well tonight.
Yeah, it's a whole different environment, but it's one that's excellent for these younger players to experience, especially as they head into collegiate programs and potentially even some professional programs down the line.
And Adam almost turned into disaster. But Edwards has been great in terms of distribution. Chance here for Indy. And some fresh legs up top for the Indy 11. On the cut back, just couldn't find a window. Love that side of the foot pass, even though it didn't find a teammate. Love the speed of thought. Again, first time we are seeing Jennings, at least here in a home match for Indy.
Yeah, and I love the substitutions to bring on May and Jennings. I think one thing that Zohaki did a nice job in the first half that we haven't quite seen yet is when those balls are coming across, she widens out and creates space, spreads the defense out, and you almost felt like that side touch to May was just a little too tight and a little too hot for her to bring down.
Pinto beat the first defender, but couldn't beat the second, and that's a credit to Racing Louisville. And now on the counter, Chatterton hustling back and does what is needed.
Yep, an excellent touch, especially with the Racing Louisville attacker bearing down on her. That speed is, I mean, you can hear the footsteps coming.
Some substitutions coming on here for Racing. So exiting the match for Racing Louisville will be Brianna Dardano. So coming in will be Mason Smith. See her on the field as we speak. 2 substitutions. We got the other one to you on the fly. I think Fina Davey has also come in for Racing Louisville. Another Louisville Cardinal. And the youngest player on the park, Angelica Alzugari. 14 years old, just took that one across the touchline. But if you're good enough at the age of 14 to play here, we're going to be talking about you for years to come.
Yeah, she's in the class of 2029, which even for someone from the class of 2010 seems like a long ways away.
You're so young.
It doesn't feel like it anymore, Greg.
Give it about 15 years, all right? Teague on the distribution. This portion, this match is brought to us by our friends at AES Indiana. AES Indiana, accelerating the future of energy together. Long distance ball that Edwards will amble over to track down.
You know, about 12 minutes in, I'm pretty impressed with the defensive effort so far. I felt like they haven't given up a lot of those through balls that Louisville was able to play through in the first half. You know, you're just waiting to see that moment turn into a goal and get back into this one.
A lot of sideways movement here for Racing. Nothing coming of it after a turnover committed by Indy. Now the long distance ball tracked down. Trying to catch Indy on a turn here. Good stand up defensively. And Chester applying pressure. Indy has a substitution to the fourth official. They've already subbed several players to start the half. And Racing done with their season after tonight. This is their 10th and final match. Indy and Dayton will play here, and Indy has had their way with Dayton, but scores have frankly been a little more competitive than some of Dayton's other matches this year.
It'll be interesting to see that matchup, you know, especially towards the end of the season. We've mentioned the feature of some younger players, kind of see how deep both these sides are and see if that plays into the result at all.
Addie Chester will be done for the night for the Indy 11. And we mentioned this a couple of times. She was starting to kind of hobble a little bit. Olivia Joyce comes in to replace her. Olivia will be a senior this fall at Carmel, now playing for John Simmons. Makes the move from Park Tudor to Carmel this coming season. Olivia is going to play at Kansas next year. So the youth movement continues for Brandon Kim and company. Lefty ball in. Smith gets a touch for Indy. And this is kind of where the ball lived for a good part of the last 30 minutes of half number one. We've not seen as much of that in half number two. And again, good catch by the referee. That was full-on jersey tug there.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if he's going to give out his second card of the evening. Doesn't look like it, but you're exactly right. The Indy 11 backline has really struggled with completing those clearances. You know, typically we'll see them try and find a winger out on the end lines or wide somewhere. But this half, they've just seemed to be, or this game entirely, not able to clear it past that 20-yard mark where Louisville just keeps picking it up and possessing.
Throw in coming from next to the IMCU sign, which reminds me to tell you to show your Indy 11 pride, get your exclusive IMCU Indy 11 debit card at any IMCU branch or online now at imcu.com today. Bending ball. Target in the 18, but quickly out of it for the Indy 11. Here's Chatterton. Chatterton splits two defenders. Jenna has a hit from distance, but just could not keep it on frame.
Really encouraging touch by Chatterton there, though. She sees the ball coming, is able to pick her head up, touches straight through the defenders, and has a nice-looking shot from about 20 to 25 yards, just a little far to the right, but a good look.
Chatterton, a former Indiana Miss Soccer. Again, because of injuries, just couldn't crack the rotation at Tennessee the last 2 years. Will play a fifth and final year of college soccer coming up at IU this fall. will play for the new head coach, the Hoosiers, too. Their head coach makes the move from Ball State. Good pressure by Indy. Seems like those opportunities to pounce just have not been capitalized on by Indy tonight.
Every opportunity just seems to be one or two touches or
Yeah.
an inch long, and, that could just be a product of, like we've kind of, keep mentioning these younger kids that are just trying to get the experience at this level, playing against some of these Louisville, some of these, Big Ten type starting players, and it's a new level.
Satterfield, great hustle to keep that ball in play and eventually earns a throw-in for the Indy 11. This portion of the match brought to us by Community Health Sports Medicine. Exceptional care, simply delivered. Right idea. Just couldn't execute the pass.
Yeah, it was on. Just that is a tough pass no matter how tight you are on the sideline. If you're right-footed or left-footed, that's going to be a tough one, but it's a great look.
Like the flick here. Kruger hustling back, stands her ground, and then draws the contact. And she's off to Michigan State in the next week or two. It's been her college career.
And she's had a fantastic game here this evening, and I think she's been very solid in that center back role, especially one that, Grace Barr has been living in for most of the season, obviously. And so to be able to step into that and play as solidly as she has, I've been impressed.
Mackenzie has certainly looked the part over the couple of games we have seen her.
I was going to question that, but we're all just going to go with it. But, yes, we will take that foul.
Deemed to be a point in the wrong direction. And Olivia Smith has the mileage award tonight for the Indy 11. She has been up and down the park and involved in a lot of the good things that have happened for the Indy 11.
Are we maybe doing a kickball?
Time for a new ball.
There we go.
Even as quality as the select soccer balls are, sometimes you have to get a new one. Good-looking ball here. Just, again, we've seen a couple of really good deliveries inside of the 18. Just not enough done with them yet. That was Yamazaki that was the target that time.
You're right. We've seen some great ideas, whether it be from the corner kick or the set pieces. And at this level, the difference between a header that's going 6 inches over the bar and one that's going into the net is very, very little. The timing has to be perfect, and it's something that as the forwards grow and get used to getting onto the end of these driven balls, they'll get better at.
Opportunity here. Ball played all the way across and nobody home. That's Olivia Joyce that tried to center that ball and just couldn't find a teammate. Good work by Smith. Yamazaki, May nudges it forward to Emerson Jennings. Jennings on the cross, falls to Joyce, but again, just couldn't time out the run properly. Pinto might get a second look at this.
Number 25 in, number 29 out.
May, one touch. Doesn't get back to her a second time. By the way, Abby Beasley will be entering for the Indy 11. She'll replace Pinto. We'll get the other sub your way in a matter of moments. And it's been better in the second half for the Indy 11. Not that it was completely terrible in half number one.
No, it wasn't. Racing Louisville just had a much easier time dominating the possession and moving the ball where they wanted to. I think the back line in the midfield has done a great job of some recovery runs and throwing Louisville off their preferred offensive path. With that being said, there have been a few more creative opportunities on the offensive side as well.
Jennings could not track that down in time. Frankly, I like the more direct route for the Indy 11 that we're seeing at times. Joyce, again, probably could have looked for her own shot there and didn't. And part of that is being about to be a high school senior, deferring to players that are older than you. When you're in that spot, go get it. Go take it.
Mm-hmm. And it can be easy to do at that age group, but, if you're a number 9, if you're a forward up there, being selfish is part of what's going to make you great, being able to grab those moments.
So here's Beasley, and we showed you some crowd shots, and there are some fans rocking some New Hampshire gear. That would be friends and family of Abby. She is from Cathedral High School, but she is heading to New Hampshire to play in the fall. Had 45 goals and 22 assists in her days with the Irish. Chatterton will exit as well.
Yeah, Cathedral is another one of those Indianapolis programs that consistently seem to have some really decent players and make a deep run in the state tournament.
Mia Lancaster coming on here for Racing Louisville. Millie Davies now done for the night. The other player that entered for the Indy 11, Kate Mullen, who is local product from Westfield. And again, for those watching from outside of the Indy area, you stepped outside, you could almost see Westfield High School from here. It's just across US 31. In fact, the Indy 11's third goalkeeper on the men's side, we'll tell that in a moment. The diving effort, May nearly put the Indy 11 on the board in the 69th minute with the left foot. Finish the thought, Ryan Hunsucker is the academy keeper for the Indy 11 that's on an academy contract for the men's senior team. He is a junior at Westfield High School and still plays basketball at Westfield High School. So his schedule during the school year was one class at Westfield, come train with the Indy 11 for 2 hours, go back to his classes at Westfield, and then practice with the basketball team from 3 until 5 every day.
And I thought I had it hard in college.
Exactly, see? And he's only in high school.
It's beyond my imagination because nothing like this existed, when we were coming up through the high school and club ranks. And it's such a cool aspect of, these academy systems, especially here in central Indiana, to have one.
And Ryan said, listen, he goes, if I don't attend high school literally 5 minutes from the training facility, I don't think this works. But he has taken advantage of the opportunity. He has not appeared in a senior men's match so far this year. One of 2 academy players with the Indy 11 this season, Maverick McCoy being the other. Ryan headed to IU, Maverick headed to Notre Dame. Ball sent in, and just does stay in the field of play, which allows Edwards to snag it. Kate Mallon that's in the match for the Indy 11. She is going to play at Butler. Even though she was a defensive player, she led Westfield in goals with 11. Had 6 assists. We mentioned Abby Beasley being from Cathedral. Those 2 high schools played each other in the second round of the state tournament, with Cathedral getting the W in that one.
I love the effort from Elise May here in the second half. We haven't seen her a ton this season, but she's really come on and been a force at that forward position in the second half.
Yamazaki applying pressure. Carson Cherry handled it with no problem. Of course, as is often the case, you'll have players that play one spot on an academy team, and then you play for your high school team. Hey, you're the best player. We're going to put you up top. I bring that up because, again, Carson, pretty good goal scorer as a collegian. But as a high school player at Central Catholic, 124 goals and 73 assists. It's not bad.
No. It's more than I had, I can tell you that much.
Again, you were in charge of stopping shots at Zionsville, not necessarily scoring them.
I did score once in a preseason game, I'll have you know.
Good distribution here left side. Right idea, just a little strong on the touch.
Yeah, and back to the versatility you were, mentioning before I made a bad joke. But that's the thing is that's something that they're looking for at the next level, whether that's you're going into a collegiate program and you need to be slotted into, whether it's, I've seen, outside backs turn into forwards turn into some fantastic outside backs. But that's another recruitable aspect that collegiate coaches and even professional teams are going to be looking for.
Flag goes up. Let's thank our friends at Johnson Controls. Johnson Controls, the power behind your mission. Carson had a heck of a senior year at Central Catholic. Played for a soccer state championship, played for a basketball state championship, played for the Indy 11 in the spring. Not too bad.
I feel like I'd be disappointed if I didn't make it to a championship.
Well, she made it to the national quarterfinals of the W League that first year. How
All
about
right,
that?
well, yeah. Good consolation.
Playing in front of thousands at the Vikings training facility up at Eden Prairie, where the Minnesota Aurora play their home matches. Foul called against the Indy 11. Of course, 2 years ago, this Indy 11 squad was the W League champs. Played in front of 5,400 fans that day at Carroll Stadium. And beating the North Carolina Courage U23. Went 120 minutes to get the win, to win it 2-1. Not in the cards this year for the Indy 11. Foul going to be called against Indy. That'll go against Smith. I thank our friends at Care Source. Individual and family health insurance, reimagining health insurance. And it's been level, not just in terms of goals scored or lack thereof, but in terms of the overall level of play in half number 2.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. I mean, the possession has been a little bit more equal than in the first half. Momentum has been pretty much back and forth, and I would even venture to say 11's had a bit more of the dangerous chances in the second half.
I'd agree with you on that front. Just really unable to convert anything in terms of possession into a truly dangerous look. Kind of that one long distance ball and that one offering on a corner that Kruger just couldn't get ahead to. Only one goal in the run of play so far in this one. That belonged to Smith, who is still buzzing around the top of the formation for Racing. Pair of substitutions coming in here for Racing. Alzagari will exit for Racing Louisville, the 14-year-old midfielder. And also exiting will be Betsy Huckabee, looks like. Madeline Courier coming on here for Racing Louisville, also a younger player from their academy. Ball falls to May. Turn here by Joyce, but couldn't get to a player. And Teague could not get there in time, but frankly didn't need to.
No, it's a good turn, though, there in the midfield. I love that they're able to find her with her back to the goal. She does make the turn. Unfortunately, that touch forward just a little bit too hard, and she's going to end up losing that one there. But another solid,
Not the best of back passes there, but...
Anyway, not the most solid of back passes, but not the most solid of goal-scoring opportunities for the 11 either there.
If you're going to make that pass, do it with nobody around, and don't put it on target, which was kind of the opportunity now. Ball taken away, played across, and just couldn't time it.
Well, you alluded to it earlier, Greg, the selfishness. Beasley's in there. You'd like to see her go in and have a look, have a shot, even if you're still dribbling at the post and making the keeper come out.
You've got some players that, again, I think are wanting to defer because of their age and or experience where, hey, if you're out there, it's assumed you can go.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's, potentially could be a new thought for some of these younger players who haven't played on a team like this where it really is next man up. If you're out there, you're expected to perform.
Kruger plays this. Good overlapping run here. Ball played across, looking back post. And again, there's not the best of clearances. One touch, no. Second touch. Skies it. There have been some looks.
Yeah, been some looks all created by the younger players as well. I mean, you love to see Jennings out there, kind of cuts it back to her right, able to find May, and that second ball sneaks through. And again, another dangerous opportunity created, just not able to capitalize and put it in the back of the net.
Make sure we thank our friends at AES Indiana. AES Indiana, accelerating the future of energy together. And ball keeps finding Indy 11 players. That time the ball finds the hands of Teague. And a lot of players have been subbed in and out. Yamazaki is one that has gone the distance for the Indy 11. That left foot went straight to Teague, trying to finish her summer with Racing Louisville with a clean sheet. And Racing coming in at 5-2-2. Both their losses and one of their two draws coming to King's Hammer. They have outscored opponents now 31-7 on this 10-game sprint of a season. Bending ball in. Adam doing just enough, but I believe the flag went up on that, hence the whistle.
And you mentioned 31 goals, and it's a 10-game season. So, you know, technically Indy 11 right now holding them below their average. And we've seen why in the second half. They've really stymied them defensively and have essentially taken away that through ball. And Racing Louisville is having difficulty finding another way forward.
May providing a little bit of pressure.
You need everyone to step. The idea is you win this ball here.
And a foul. Kruger will race back to her center back position.
Great touch.
Still maintaining possession, though, is Racing. With 10 minutes and a little bit to spare. Cherry gonna go the distance for Racing tonight. Guarantee you she's got some friends and family that have made the quick trip from Lafayette to watch her this evening. Nearly a takeaway inside of the 18, and eventually possession won back by the visitors. Good job by Satterfield to stand up the player, and it will be a goal kick.
Yeah, I think Satterfield's done a very nice job since subbing in that second half for Teagan Albert. She's really done a nice job of being precise on those tackles out wide, which we saw Albert miss a couple, which allowed crosses in the first half.
And Satterfield is verbal to play at IU. Hamilton Southeastern High School student. That ball will be allowed to trickle across the byline for a goal kick here as we are about to hit minute number 82 in this one. Well, Indy in danger of being shut out for a second time by Racing. Opportunity here, though, for Yamazaki. But that's Teague. Teague hadn't had to do much but that's the best play she's made all night. She read that immediately.
Well, and that's just it. When you position yourself correctly, it doesn't look like you have to do much because you're already where you should be. And that's part of a goalkeeper staying involved with the game no matter where the ball is. And you're positioning yourself assuming that through ball is going to come through or that bouncing ball. So you're ready right then. But you're exactly right. Well read by Teague.
May. And scoring goals has been a little bit different for the Indy 11 this year, just 15 tallies so far in the season. And again, part of that is kind of the transitional point they're at. Things like Maddie Oswald playing a more limited role this year, Katie Bulger.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to describe it, Greg, is it's a transitional point for the club. The club is growing. Your pool of players is growing. Obviously, there's been an amazing legacy set forth so far by the girls in blue, but you've got to grow, and we see it in this division this year as well. It's getting more competitive.
This ball will go all the way through. Well, to be blunt, there's been not much here in half number 2. Still time for the Indy 11. First things first, try to get one back, and you can think about a second.
I think just to be able to put one with this group of players goes a long way as far as your development moving forward. Having that experience on top of it, but then being able to come back being down 2 goals and still playing hard it's a skill.
Ball just got away from Yamazaki. These two have been about as even as you can be here in the second half. 1 goal from under play and 1 kick from the spot. Well, what was again? As we said at halftime, pretty easy penalty to call. Good take away by Indy. Point, and Joyce will go chase. T came out, a chance to chip the keeper. Can keep it on frame.
There you go.
There it is. Indy is on the board. And it is one of the younger players on the Indy 11 roster that got it done. Olivia Joyce sends it home. It's a 1-goal game in the 85th minute.
Beautiful finish by Joyce there. The ball's played in early. She stays on side, times that run, is able to get a peek up and sees that Teague is now correctly coming off of her line. This little peek she takes at the keeper allows her just to pop it up, get her bearings, and boom, a beautiful little lofted. That's harder than it looks.
Fantastic bit of skill there by Joyce. So Indy is on the board. Now you've got probably 7 to 10 minutes to try to get an equalizer here and at least earn a point in your final matchup against one of your chief rivals.
I think that'd be a great accomplishment for this Indy 11 squad, and that goal almost awakening up the building a little bit.
Our final 5 minutes of this match presented by our friends at Johnson Controls. Johnson Controls, the power behind your mission.
26 of the assist.
Yamazaki gets credit for the assist. Throw in coming here for Racing. Mallon. Again, Indy's been a lot more direct in half number 2, and frankly, it's kind of led to some better looks.
Absolutely. You see Mallon there taking a look, skipping a line and trying to get up to the forwards. Now, that works if, May and Yamazaki and all of these other ones are able to get the touch and either play the way they face or know where their defender's at.
A lot of these losses have been close ones for the Indy 11 this spring, and Friday night that was not the case. Bending ball in, and not a bad ball by any stretch of the imagination. First time we have called this name is Giovanni Garza was the player that was giving chase. Another one of the younger members of this Racing Louisville, academy program. Again, this is their W League team, and it is a mixture of college-age players, soon-to-be college players, but there are 3 players that are in the vicinity of 14 years of age that are playing tonight for Racing Louisville. And before that shot was taken, whistle is blown.
They did a nice job of just barely keeping her offsides there.
In the long ball, Teague handles that with no problem. That was Emerson Jennings that was the closest player to it. And Teague now doing a bit of time wasting here, which you are entitled to that right when you have a 1-goal lead. That's an art form, and she practiced it well.
We call that game management.
You weren't an early lead, you're allowed to do that. I wasn't saying that as a complaint. That was a compliment.
No, I just don't be as obvious as wasting. I've seen some wasting. About 10 minutes I've seen someone sit in the corner with a ball.
Give away here and a quick restart. Indy trying to find one. We'll glance towards the 4th official for additional time. Again, we've had 1 goal and several subs in the half. Letting Jennings use that speed and trying to hustle her way back. And able just to get around a defender and then taken down.
Oh!
And that is a point to the spot. And there is the chance to level the match with a point to the spot in the 90th minute. And that is one of those young players for Lou City. That is Madeline Courier that took down Jennings right at the edge of the 18.
Yeah, and as the referees confer her, that is just a brilliant job by the youngster, Emerson Jennings. She sticks with the ball, stays with it, and is able to get around the defender for, they're going to give it to him outside.
They're going to repeal the point to the spot and say that the foul took place outside of the 18. We showed you one replay. We'll get back to it after this ball is kicked to see if that was the right decision. So wipe away the penalty. But obviously the equivalent of a short corner is coming up here.
Sure, you just want to use this opportunity wisely, put something in the box that's dangerous.
And he's going to put everybody in. Might as well. Hanging around the 6. Goal kick coming.
It's not a bad look at all.
Let's take a look.
Yep.
And where was the contact? Inside or outside? I would agree, outside.
It's a good call. Yep. She falls inside the box, but contact is initiated outside of that 18. It's a good call by the referee.
2 minutes left to go in the match. Great job by Charlie Hammock to have that dialed up and show us in terms of that replay.
Our crew has been on it tonight.
Well, it's a day that ends in Y. It's what we expect on the ISC Sports Network. May sends it in. And good chase applied by Indy, and trying to. Yamazaki was the target. That was from Beasley, or correction. That was from Adam. Smith digs in. Not out of danger just yet. And Smith just couldn't time it properly.
That looked like a pretty good 50-50 challenge, but again, we don't have the best of angles. It's tough to get the ball up there, though.
So halfway through our 2 minutes of additional time. Well, this has been encouraging to see from the Indy 11 perspective, even if it does not lead to a win or points. And again, the result of this match will not affect the standings in the division. will not affect the end result. And these teams in this division know it's all or nothing. You win the division, move on, and if not, back home, back to your college campus. And this 6-week sprint will come to an end. But still some positive steps for a much younger squad for the Indy 11 have been shown here in half number 2.
You're absolutely spot on with that, Greg. I mean, even in the last 10, 15 minutes since that goal, they've already started playing more aggressively and more confidently.
Good job by Joyce to get onside. May finds a window, just couldn't put it away. Teague slid over and shut the door, and that may just about be it.
It's a beautiful build-up by the girls in blue there, and an even better, you just see this give and go, step over with the right foot by May, and then hits it with her left, tries to aim for the bottom corner, just not able to get enough power on it.
And that's that. Well, congratulations to Racing. They were the better side tonight. Indy finished with a flourish, but could not make up a 2-goal deficit. Kristen, final thoughts on this one.
Hey, it was a well-fought game. I think you walk away from this with some learning moments for the younger players. You walk away from this, positively if you're Racing Louisville that you were able to close out the game. Indy 11 will be back out on Friday, and, we'll try and get another one.
Let's thank the following sponsors that make this happen. Thanks to our friends at Community Health Sports Medicine. Exceptional care simply delivered by AES Indiana, accelerating the future of energy together. And by CareSource, individual and family health insurance, reimagining health insurance. We'll do this one final time coming up on Friday night when the Indy 11 take on the Dayton Dutch Lions for the season finale. We hope you join us at 7 o'clock. But for now, for Kristen Hazley and our entire ISC Sports Network crew, this is Greg Rakestraw. Good night from Westfield. Racing Louisville W League 2, Indy 11-1. Thanks for joining us for USLW League Soccer.
Forget all those DIY schemes to try to keep your family cool. Because at Williams Comfort Air, we've got your back.
Ma'am, everything's up and running.
We look forward to keeping your home comfortable for life.
This is Molly. She loves road trips, hikes, her dog Max, and cars that fit her lifestyle, like this cool new ride that she got with help from Indiana Members Credit Union at a great low rate. And for when she's on the go, IMCU makes it easy for her to pay from anywhere thanks to their digital banking. Looks like Molly is really getting the max from her credit union.
Imagine a health insurance company that could look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals and help its members find what they need to actually live healthier lives, like a stable job, dependable transportation, or a safe place to live. Well, that health insurance company is not only real, but making a real difference right now. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining health insurance.